Today we had this press conference trying to demand the government that Karnataka is an inclusive state. Karnataka is known for its diversity and inclusive spirit and its syncretic culture. That's being destroyed, attempted to being destroyed by sectarian groups. And good number of these kind of murders which are without the kind of personal vendetta. When you see that someone is getting killed, murdered, there's no personal angle to it. Then certainly it does not look well for the state, and the state need to take appropriate action in this regard, and the state need to act in an even-handed manner. I think it's the opinion of many of the people out here that the state has not been acting in an even-handed manner. And secondly, trying to make a statement that we're going to bring a UP model. Why? We are one of the finest police department that we have. I mean, as a former state public prosecutor, for me it really shocks that why someone makes such a statement. We have such kind of force, law and order is very low crime rate in this country, is Karnataka. How come such statements are being made by a responsible authority? We are a better model. And in fact, we are an ideal model for everybody from Uttar Pradesh to come and be here. Millions of people come to Bangalore, millions of people come to Karnataka for their livelihood, for education, for opportunity, for development, because we are one of the model states, one of the finest states. We open the world for these two youngsters and the professionals who come here, open the world for them. When such is the case, how come the state government employs such language? It's like it disturbs the people. That's something which is really a cause for concern. Thank you.
We called for this press meet, to highlight the deteriorating situation of law and order in Karnataka. There's absolute collapse of the rule of law in Karnataka today, and we've seen a chief minister who's blatantly violating his oath to the constitution, who's acting like he's a chief minister only for workers of his party. Right? There is no pretense also of a democratic setup anymore, or following the constitution. Generally, when a fire is there, you need to put it out. Instead, what this government is doing is, they're adding ghee to the fire, and they're provoking the fire. These results, these three murders of Masood, Fazil and Praveen are not isolated incidents, but they're a build-up of the hate and of the impunity since the last, especially since the last year, since Mr. Bommai took over. If you see the kind of incidents which have happened in the past 1 year, we will see what is led to the, even if you look at incidents, right? Mr. Nabi Saab's watermelons were broken. His cart was damaged in presence of the police. If you see what happened before Sameer's murder in Nargund, you'll see that the accused made a hate speech in front of the police station. Even though he was already named in FIR, police kept quiet. Mr. Pramod Mutalik and several others make hate speech. Kali Swami says 10 Muslims must be killed for every Hindu killed. All this happens out in the open, and police are not allowed to take any action. So when you create this kind of a situation, people feel like they can take the law into their hands, which is why Masood was killed for a petty reason. 8 youth got together to kill Masood. What was the reason? What was the provocation? It was a petty reason, but they felt they could get away with this murder because of the environment which has been created. And after that, you see that the government and sections of the media indulge in hate. Even before and after Praveen's murder, especially even before, you could see the Home Minister give statement saying that the murderers came from Kerala. Police has not said anything. The Home Minister has done this earlier also when Chandru was killed. A police commissioner put out a tweet saying this happened for minor reasons, but the Home Minister said this happened for communal reasons. So this government is directly instigating hate and violence, and this government really has no moral authority to remain in power anymore, and they need to go.
In 2018, the Supreme Court has passed an order in Tehsil Poonawalla where it has specifically looked at the duty of the state, and it says that the duty of the state is to ensure that it maintains the secular ethos of our country, the pluralistic nature, the democratic setup of our country. Our preambular promises has to be maintained. There is a constitutional obligation on the state to ensure that it is done. The Supreme Court further goes on to look at the specific responsibilities of the state government, the district administration, the police authorities, in order to ensure that hate crimes don't take place, in order to ensure that where hate crimes take place, what action is to be taken. Subsequent to the judgment of the Supreme Court in Tehsil Poonawalla, you actually have the DGP of Karnataka, who has issued a circular which has gone out to all the police stations across the state, specifically saying that this judgment must be implemented in letter and spirit. But what we are seeing today in the state is an unfortunate breakdown of rule of law, where the constitutional obligations of the state are not being fulfilled, where the specific directions of the Supreme Court in Tehsin Poonawalla judgment are not being complied with. And this is a very serious situation that we have. We have to go back to the words of the Supreme Court and look and see that the government of the day is not here to protect its political power, it's not here to protect its political workers, it is here to ensure that the constitutional duties that are put before it, the maintenance of rule of law, that the values that are embedded in the preamble of our constitution are upheld.
Recent murder of Masood, Praveen and also Fazil, that too in a short span of 20 days, is really disturbing. We have seen that the coastal Karnataka have been witnessing these communal incidents from a period of time, but especially in times of when the election is nearing, these incidents are more common. So the government really needs to address these issues, and these incidents also are not to be taken in isolated forms. These are continued and a result of the communal speeches and the violence which have been provoked by the politicians of those regions, especially the so-called who call themselves as Swamijis, and also the self-proclaimed politicians of those areas.
Situation that we are seeing today is a sort of union of Hindutva and neoliberalism. We are seeing acute economic crisis on one side, and there is like rampant communal polarization in the country to the extent that we are inching towards almost a genocidal situation. This is what the classical fascism looked like in Europe, and we are somewhere almost near to that stage itself. So as progressive people, as progressive democratic sections of the society, it is our duty to come together to fight this hate, and we have to ensure that the messages that reach to people are that these are not the issues that affect you in your everyday life. The issues that affect you are unemployment, price rise, the complete privatization of education, healthcare, and the complete collapse of whatever state machineries were existing in order to ensure that people live their life, could survive in the society. Thank you.